My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, Queen Victoria II, and heir to the British Crown. I was kidnapped in 41, brought to Moulton, Alabama, and grew up thinking I was a twin. I was given the name of Peggy Dempsey. I married a Childers. In 83, I found out about my kidnapping, my real identity, and the fact that the twins were both dead. They were illegitimate, and their mother had killed them, and the family covered it up. It was like a pigsty and a terror um, camp where I grew up. Anyway, I wanted to focus right now on my father, King Edward VIII. Um, my father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, American Irish Catholic commoner. She was considered back then. So part of the Windsor family, it didn't sit well with them. It was really an opportunity to take over an illegal monarchy, install themselves with American values. And when I say that, yeah, just exactly that, American values. They worked in the best interest of the United States, and that was taking over the world, New World Order, which, by the way, Elizabeth's been filmed at it, and she's a party to it, a member, as is President Obama. Just stated in a video that's on YouTube. I saw it was a press release during the close down of the government, before the New World Order was in place. Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Roosevelt's helped kidnap me. My own uncle, and by the way, you didn't hear a thing about that in the King's speech. That was about an uncle, that illegal monarch that kidnapped me, the real monarch, took out his brother, put a 99-year seal on it. What is so bad that you don't want it heard for 99 years? The other thing I want to say is how cold-blooded, because nobody, as far as the Windsors that I know of, Elizabeth, they've lived a good life. They've installed themselves, and they mean to stick. You can't question her. She's above reproach. She just won't answer. A little DNA, if you could do it legally, not like the one done on Anastasia next door to me here when she was killed by Blue Ridge Mental Health. By the way, I came through that day driving a car that they killed her, leased by Hustler, May the 4th of 84. And I didn't know I'd end up here in Roanoke, and I did in 10/20 of '06. And that's about 60 miles maybe from Charlottesville and Scottsville, where they had a farm. She was married to a professor at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, and they killed her with Halidol. And she was Anastasia's, our Nicholas's daughter, and the DNA wasn't legally done, so who could say if they did one on me? I am who I am, and I'm the monarch. I wanted to focus on this little picture here. This all looks good, nice smile. They're wearing expensive everything. Their life is so exorbitant. As long as you don't tell that they're, I don't know, some people don't care what killers they are, and the crimes they committed. And I suppose you think some people think that looks sweet. Here's my father, by the way, King Edward VIII. He never married Wallace Simpson. A double did. His own brother's sitting in 39 with Roosevelt planning my kidnapping this year I was born. Really, George's nice fell on Elizabeth, aren't they? And this is Phil Keith. This is Georgia, my aunt. Ghost Ranch out near Santa Fe. Um, my mom was considered a commoner back then, Catholic, Irish. Now here's the O'Keefe. Here's Elizabeth. And I want to read off here because I wanted to focus on this. First of all, my mother was, I guess, a commoner, if you want to say that. It wasn't okay then. My father was supposed to have married Wallace Simpson, which was a lie. Imposter look-alike married her and became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Now, all this happened, and nobody stepped up to the plate and told it. Okay? So, this whole thing was also that Wallace Simpson, was illegitimate. Now, they brought me over and gave me the name of twins, twin, and they were illegitimate, and told me that's who I was. Okay, Wallace Simpson was a divorcee. Now, I want to read off this to you, this picture. And baby George makes 12. This historic photo of Prince George's christening Wednesday show Queen Elizabeth II with 3 generations of her heirs. Just set yourself up and call you the monarch. Plus other members of George's royal and Middleton families. By the way, Middletons would be considered commoners, and they have Jewish roots, which the Rothschilds, and then you go into my hostage taking and the treaties, Israeli treaties and all this. So, it says it's the first such picture since Queen Victoria in 1894, which would have consisted of my great-grandfather, Edward VII, in the picture, was Victoria, my great-great-grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother. Okay, so you've got Victoria the First, who I was named after. Then you've got Edward the Seventh, my great-grandfather. Then you've got King George the Fifth, my grandfather, and then my father would have been the baby, like George here, the baby George, and I mean, I can't believe that it's Kate Middleton and William, and they named the baby. I mean, how big a slap in the face can you take? Named the baby after Elizabeth's father that helped kidnap me, take out his own brother with lies and everything. He's a traitor. And they had the gall, and they're sitting there with this group together, and everybody's loving them. Wow, that's all I can say, I guess. So we've got Philip, you got Charles, you got Duchess Camilla, who was a divorcee, by the way. So Wallace Simpson was illegitimate, a divorcee, and she married an imposter. I mean, she was an American spy, by the way. Are you getting any of this, or am I losing you on it, people? I can't fathom why it's okay for these people to stand here and people love them because they pulled off the biggest heist in history. So I'm going to go on and read it. You got Harry. Hey, Harry, right in the middle of it. Pippa, James, Carol, and Michael Middleton flank the Queen. Duchess Catherine, Prince William, and little George. There you go. Now, I think I showed you my father's picture. I'm going to show you once again. I know I did. I'm going to show you once again Roosevelt and George the Sixth, a man who is illegal, sold out country, brother, everything. Um, trying to think, there's something else. I want to say I wrote about. I want to show a picture of the Kennedys here. They've done pretty well. I guess some people would think not. They're made out heroes, and it's terrible to shoot him, John Kennedy. While I hope everybody, I really do, has to see what was done to me, and it's been an American joke. To my kids and to the British and to Germans. Um, I wrote a book about mind control. I said that, and it was done in patterns and all this, and it can be proven. Um, it's it's almost like instant messaging. They program people using name, timeline, etc., etc. And if you've got the crypt or it's like cryptology. It's sending a message. You're using people and times and dates, and you're programming them to shoot and kill. And it's so advanced that some of the people they kill, it's weird how they can be brought together. So it's so advanced. But the LAX was one of them, using Paul Anthony, however you pronounce his last name. Begins with CIA and it ends all, I've forgotten how the last in it, NCI, excuse me, something. But that's one of them. It's like instant messages. You can use a message that way. Um, so the Virginia Tech, which the 33 there, I did want to add this. The psychiatrist at Fort Hood finished school there and was born here in Roanoke. And that was James Holmes of the Oral, Colorado. I wanted to mention that ABC correspondent there the other day at LAX mentioned that there was a note left by Paul, the shooter, while he was programmed. So his motive, he wouldn't have one. He wouldn't even know what he's doing. The motive is in the person giving the command and programming. So that's why there's no motive in a lot of this. Uh, the motive is instant messaging and showing you what this country's doing, but who's listening. But there was the person said, the correspondent said there was a note left by him stating his concern for the New World Order. Now then, the correspondent said, if you believe or prescribe to such beliefs, I've forgotten his exact words, like saying, hey, you're a nut, like people believe in UFO. Well, first of all, you should question what's going on. If they're not UFOs, what's the government doing? Point being that they consider ludicrous anything they don't like to hear. The New World Order is well in place. Elizabeth is part of it. Um, so it's there. So this man didn't lie. Your media are the ones that are out of touch.